Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Everybody Has a Podcast. I am so excited today because I have one of my newer friends, Patrina Wisdom, in the studio today. Yes. Patrina, welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here finally. Oh my
I'm so glad you're here. Yes. I have a couple things I want everyone to know. So I'm going to read your bio and then I'm going to get you into your questions because you've hit a milestone recently, which we're going to talk about today. So congratulations up front. But for everyone who's hearing about Patrina for the first time, she is the author of Anatomy of Abundance. She is the host of the Living Room Wisdom podcast, hosted by Patrina, with guests. She's a TEDx speaker. She is a guest on numerous other shows and media outlets, a speaker, a retreat host, and creator of the Anatomy of Abundance framework. And that's registered, y'all. She made the full commit. Today, we're going to talk about the ups and downs, the ins and outs of podcasting, the highs and the lows. She just celebrated in a major way, in a very grand way, her 100th episode at Loft 100 right here in San Diego. Full media production, full scale. It was beautiful and amazing. You had wonderful guests. You carried energy throughout the whole time, had a host and MC for the event. You guys, she's doing it, and she's living loud and living out large, and I absolutely love it. But she didn't stop at 100. She's already continued well past that without even flinching. So, Patrina, welcome to Everybody Has a Podcast.
Thank you so much. First off, I want to acknowledge this beautiful studio, and thank you for having me. I'm so used to being the one on the other side of the mic, as you know. And I'm finding that a lot of people aren't doing the in-space podcast. I think it's becoming more popular, but it's much more of a commitment than like the Zoom podcast. This is actually the first time I'm on an in-space podcast.
No, wait, really?
I think ever.
Other than the Loft 100 when you did, but that was like you had people there.
Though. I mean, as a guest. Than my own.
Oh, okay.
So probably all of my podcast interviews over like almost 3 decades have been on Zoom.
That's amazing.
So this is fun.
Well, I'm so glad that you made the trek here. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to have you here in person. We had met in person at another event, and that was just a couple of months ago. Back in, I think, it was in January, I think, at the wellness event over at Casa Sur Hacienda. Yeah. And it was great to meet you. And we talked about podcasting. You shared with me that you had a show. I was like, oh, hey, now. Okay. And I knew I was going to be launching Everybody Has a Podcast this year and creating our episodic series about podcasters, whether they work here with us or they don't. The whole point was to get people to come in and talk about their show, their experience, what they went through, what kind of obstacles you may have had to over, hurdles you had to jump over mentally and emotionally before even starting, like all that kind of stuff. So I'm real excited to talk about that with you today.
I want to just share that this was not a choice for me. Podcasting was not a choice. I am someone who kind of follows the path of spirit, right? I'm drawn where the energy is, where the need is, where the most impact is. But when I first did this podcast, it was because my marketing team at the time told me I should, and I'm not a shoulds girl. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, if you tell me I should, I'm probably not going to do it.
I've heard you say that. Yes, I've heard you say that.
But I think probably it's one of the times where Spirit was like, no, you really should.
Yeah.
And so I leaned in and I did the podcast, and the next thing you know, we're at 100 episodes.
Yeah.
And so it really, I would say, didn't become very, very intentional until probably 80-something episodes. But even before then, even though it wasn't something I was creating intentionally, I committed. And I think that's really the juice when it comes to a good podcast. You have to commit because there's a time, there's an energy investment, resources. It's a lot of work. It's not as easy as we make it look.
So, I've heard you talk about that before. Say, I was told to do one because my marketing agency said you should do it, and you went with it. Which is to your credit, you could have been like, no, I don't want to, and no because that's a no.
I did. I fought it.
But okay. Yet somehow we still have an entire show.
Exactly.
So you still have a show nonetheless. Yes. What were the things that when you started did you feel like were in the way? Like what was blocking you from saying yes to that? Was it an aversion? Was it something you were dealing with, or what was that about?
I'm one of these people that doesn't like to follow the pack.
Okay.
And I've asked my mother, I've always been a little hard-headed. I toot to my own drum. And so when somebody tells me I should, something in me automatically tightens up. That's the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
Okay. However, they made it so easy for me to execute, and it made so much sense in the big scheme of my marketing plan that I was like, okay, stop being stubborn and do it. And I knew I'd be great at it. It's just a matter of me choosing to say yes and to lean in. Yeah. And I knew also, here's the real truth. I knew also what I know about myself is that once I say yes to something, I fully commit. Right. And so that means if I start it, I'm going to keep it going into perpetuity. And that's the commitment, the time, the resources, all of that.
Yeah.
And so funny enough, that company didn't work out. I had to fire them like probably 2 or 3 months later.
Oh, wow.
I think we had shot maybe 5 podcast episodes.
Oh, wow.
And then it was left on me to figure out how this shit was going to continue.
Man.
So exactly what I was afraid of is what happened. But it was
But that didn't deter you. You're like, okay, I'm going to
No.
pick this up. And I'm because that yes means 100. That meant I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to full force and still carry out.
And that was before there was the acknowledgement, the applause, right? And so this is a really important point. Yeah, it's an important point. I think a lot of people get into podcasting, get into speaking, get into coaching kind of on trend or for the applause or for the spotlight. I don't care about any of that shit. I get it naturally. I walk down the street and like I stand out. So I wasn't looking for more spotlight. I'm always looking for impact. And so if this is another way that I can reach people, whether I know they're listening or not, because we all know whether it's social media, whether it's a podcast, there's always people looking and lurking that may not press like, that may not comment, may not download. And so once it was started and I saw how powerful this could be, I couldn't help but to continue it.
I want to pause there for a second because you just said something super important that I think either people don't think of or they've heard it and it flies past them, which is there's a lot of content that people consume that they don't hit the like button, they're not going to hit the share button, and they're not going to drop a comment, but they still see it. So in a world where vanity metrics seem like you're it's like the most important thing in the world. Oh, it's got 1 million views and this, that. You know what? It probably has a lot more than 1 million views. It's just 1 million that were counted.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got 500 likes. There's people that liked it that didn't hit the like button, but they still liked it.
And there's some people who hit like out of habit. Let's be honest.
Correct.
I think the people we're impacting most with the things that we're putting out there are the people who are staying silent. I'll get like a random email or a random DM and be like, I've been following this stuff for years. Like I've been following, I watch all yours. And I'm like, yo, what the hell, right?
I've been tailing you in traffic for years.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. But I mean,
like
they
stalking
share
you.
that, they share the impact with you that you've made on them without you even knowing it. And then that's what makes it worth it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you started, did you buy into the idea that the impact would be there?
I didn't have to buy into it.
Okay.
I know when I show up in a room, there's going to be impact.
Right.
When I open my mouth, there's going to be impact.
Okay,
so any opportunity to do that is a yes.
Is a yes because you know that the opportunity itself will allow the impact to be delivered.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just it's prepackaged that way. Got it.
Well, and you have to remember too now, I think I've been doing this 5 years, something like that, 5 years, maybe even 6. And at that time, it was more the social media. I don't think podcasts had really picked up the steam that they have now.
Right.
It was more about like getting on video on social media. And sorry. I'm one of these people, if I don't have anything to say, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it just out of habit. And so there was a time way before it became popular to be on social media, on video, that I was on. I did a Wisdom Wednesday video every single day, 3 tips to something, right? But then I just stopped feeling it. And so I stopped doing it. And so I think my point is just, I don't follow trends. I said this earlier. It's really about the impact. And so if I see an opportunity, something I'm not doing that could create more impact, then I do lean in.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I want you to also address the novel idea of like this podcasting from different cities that we've talked about.
I love that.
So share with everybody what you did and why you chose to
Yes.
do it that way.
Well, again, because it wasn't something I was choosing initially, it's like, okay, if I'm going to pick this up and commit to it, I'm going to do it my way. And I love to travel. Anyone who knows me knows that freedom is my #1 core value, that I love to travel and I love experiences. I love creating experiences for people. So my first season of my podcast was here in San Diego. The second one was in Belize. No, I lie. The first one was in Belize. Second. No, I'm right. Second. Anyway, then we took it to Miami. We took it to Atlanta. We took it to LA. Like I would just go and I would set up and do batch content, batch interviews, and then schedule them out. And for me, that's what felt good in regard to something that I hadn't planned on doing, but that I was committed to. Now, if you know me and you know my system, my Anatomy of Abundance framework, I'm all about kind of the mental, spiritual, emotional, and mindset stuff, but I'm also very grounded. I'm a strategy girl. I am like super grounded, and it's that grounding and that strategy that allows me to feel free.
That's so good.
And so that's what that was. It was like, if I have a strategy for creating this podcast that feels good for me, that doesn't feel like I'm being bogged down, then I can fully commit and create impact without it impinging on my freedom.
Yeah, because on the one side you're not being boxed in, but you're being invited to be your whole self at the same time.
Yes.
That's so good, and that is I think some people's unspoken fear.
Yes.
Is do I have to be someone different? Because I just want to be me.
Yeah.
And I have admitted this publicly on social media too. Sometimes I didn't even like me enough to wake up and want to be me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most people are not connected with themselves.
And let alone like, hey, be you, and then also do it on camera. Like, I don't even like me without the camera
People
some days, right?
automatically go into, broadcaster mode when the cameras come on, right? And they turn into a totally different character. But the juice of podcasting is showing up as yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? There are days, I've had great days here on the podcast set, and there's days where I'm like, oh man, I don't have it today, but we got to do this show. We're doing this show anyways, and I'm leaning on the desk.
Yeah.
But it's because it's supposed to be real. It's supposed to be authentic, and it invites that. And I think that there's a lesson in that for people who might be hesitating too, because I think it also goes into this self-worth and value thing where people think, oh well, my story's not that important. Or what happened to me has happened to lots of people. But what's so funny about it is, let's say something negative's happened in your life, whether it's in childhood, adolescence, or whatever, even though it might have happened to a lot of people, everyone still feels like they're isolated in that trauma or the experience, right? Oh, this thing happened to me. I don't want to burden people with what happened to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about what...
And it doesn't always have to be traumatic. Like, you can have fun conversations
of
too,
course.
Right? Or make fun of the traumatic incident.
Yeah. And I think of things that stop people, like sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, most times it's just themselves, just getting in their own way. But what's tragic to me is I've been around business a long time. I have friends who are 20 years, 30 years in their career, and somehow they think that their success doesn't mean they have something to share. I'm like, you've been so wildly successful.
Yes.
And you have tons to share with people and to leave a legacy for and invite people to do well. I just want them to see that in themselves,
I agree 100%. I mean, my whole body of work over the last almost 30 years has been helping women specifically, but all people, to stop sacrificing themselves or abandoning themselves for success or what their idea of success is, because it's bullshit. It's something that's been placed on us by our families, society, like what we're told to do or who we're told to be instead of who we actually are. And it takes a level of courage to actually show up and live and be, and especially show up on camera as who you really are. But the other part of that is that at some point you get to make a different choice, right? And so I talk a lot about the sovereign CEO. And the sovereign CEO is someone that feels safe enough to actually show up as themselves and, figure out how to navigate these spaces and places in a way that's true to themselves and feels more fulfilling, because otherwise we all walk around feeling like imposters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Imposter syndrome's huge.
It's a thing.
I want to read you something from your website, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I want you to respond to it.
Okay.
I do this work because I believe women deserve lives that don't cost them their nervous system, their truth, or their joy. Because leadership doesn't have to be lonely, and because it's never too late to choose again.
Yeah, exactly.
You walked right into that one. I had that ready to go. I'm like,
I live what I write.
She's just saying it right now.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up later, I thought, but maybe not. No, that I specifically picked that out because it really does embody all of the things that you're touching and doing that you publicly share with people.
Yeah.
From the speaking engagements, doing the talks, hosting retreats, doing the podcast, even writing a book, and honestly, creating a framework is so good. Sorry, I went with Anatomy of Abundance, but yeah, book. Sorry, but I want to talk about the framework a little more because you made reference to it a second ago. But explain what the framework is and why it's so important, and how you talk about it and use it, the infrastructure of the framework inside your discussions with guests and podcasting.
Yeah. So the framework is the center of everything. So whether it's a podcast, whether it's me speaking on stage, a retreat, anything I do, a lunch, a dinner, you name it, any experience I create is based in the framework. So the framework is a 6-step framework for creating nervous system safety. And also it's an embodiment of abundance instead of a performance of abundance, right? We're not doing what looks like success. We're actually doing what feels like success for us. So it's very deeply rooted in our own core values. My top 3 is love, freedom, and play. Shocking, isn't it? Like, I love to have fun. So based on that, I want to create the rest of my life around that, including my business, or if you have a job, your job, right? How can you bring your values into your embodiment of whatever it is you're doing? And so step 1 is reconnecting with the truth of who we are, not who we've been told to be, right? Once we understand and reconnect with who we really are, identifying those disempowering stories, narratives, the language, the habits that we have or that we've fallen into that have created this life that we don't feel fulfilled in, and then making changes, right? So reframing it, changing those patterns, changing the language, right? Act as if, right? What do they say? Fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't always work out, does it?
Yeah, no, stepping into the full embodiment of yourself is a better way to say that. Step 3 is sacred self-care. To me, sacred self-care is mind, body, spirit, and finance. Because you can tell a lot about a person through how they treat themselves in all those areas, right? And so treating it as if it is the divine, as if you are the divine, and treating your money, your mind, your spirit, your body, your finance in a way that is honorable.
Yeah.
So those are the top 3. The step 4 is then to declare. So it's not enough to do the work and make the changes within yourself. Now you got to tell everybody around you.
Yeah.
Because essentially you've been lying to them for however many years you've been alive about who you really are. You've been saying yes when you mean no.
That's right. Yes.
Right? You've been overextending. You've been doing all of these things to compromise yourself.
Oh, man.
So you got to then be like, you know what, Andy? I know that I've been doing X, Y, and Z, but this is not really feeling alive. It's not who I am anymore.
And it's been that way for a long time for most people, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of marriages break up.
That's crazy.
Right? And so now it's like, I say retrain. Some people get triggered when I say retrain, but it's essentially now I have to tell you how to engage with me in a more authentic and honest way.
Retraining sounds better than reconditioning.
I mean,
reconditioning.
Reprogram you.
Behavior modification.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Retrain's good. I like that. I'll go with that.
It does kind of sound like a dog, but whatever. So retraining, and then the 5th step is to organize. Right. Once you've done those steps, now you have to organize your life, your business, your finances, your relationships, systems to support living as the authentic version of yourself. Right. And so that could be anything from, a technology system in your business that allows you to free up time because freedom is a core value, things of that nature, right? Date nights, stuff like that. And then the last step is move into action with accountability and support. So that's about community. That's about asking for help, which a lot of times is very challenging for women specifically. Not only asking for it, but learning how to receive it without condition.
Oh, and guys don't want help either. They're so guys are stubborn. Like, I don't want to ask for help until like I'm already bleeding and I've already made one trip to the ER. And now I'll take help. Like this, why are we so stubborn?
And it's funny you say that because I've spent my entire career focusing specifically on women.
Yeah.
But I haven't shared this a lot. When my business first started developing, it was me wanting to support men. And obviously, for those of you who know my story, my husband passed of suicide in 2009. I had no clue he was struggling. Right. I mean, and for me outside looking in, everything looked great. We had a great relationship, great life. And so it really got me into inquiry around what is the experience of men. Yeah. But then I got pushback from men that I don't understand the male experience, and I won't go into what kind of some of the comments were.
Sure.
So I shifted and I said, okay, then I'm going to support the women who are engaging in relationship with the men.
Yeah.
But I'm finding too now, there's a full circle moment. My 100th episode, Extravaganza, was the first time that I had a male guest.
I noticed that.
Yeah. So there's a whole new energy and flow happening where I'm feeling like now is the time to kind of bring all of us together again in this next iteration.
For so long, the grin and bear it, stuff it down, don't unearth all that stuff, like was the way of teaching manhood and toughness. And really it's done a disservice to, I think, men in relationships, and just men, even if they're not in a relationship, even among friendships. But like, we're intended to have friendships and community, and have impact and influence with each other. And when you don't share those things, everyone is on this island by themselves. We've never been more connected, yet more lonely than ever. How is that? How is that possible? That we've never been as connected as we are now, and also just as lonely as ever.
Well, we have connection, but we don't have intimacy.
Correct. Yeah.
When people think of intimacy, they automatically go to sex, and sex is not the only form of intimacy, right? And so I think there's this piece now of people craving more intimacy. They may not have language for it, but that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if it's male intimacy, female intimacy, like we just want to feel connected in a deeper way.
Yeah.
We want like physical touch, and it doesn't have to be sexual. So that's why I say with my business, I started to say that I scale intimacy. That's kind of my mission, is to scale intimacy, where if people watch a podcast or come to a retreat or a dinner or whatever, or even read my book, that it feels like an intimate experience, because that's where the transformation happens.
Yeah.
The permission.
And I think even this space of podcasting has allowed there to be space for people to have more of these conversations openly, because it has for so long just become private. Don't talk about it at all.
Yes.
Or if you are going to talk about it, only talk about it privately, and definitely don't go on camera and talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you do, don't air it. Right. So, but now that's completely shifted. It's like there's so many conversations happening around this topic, which is part of why I'm compelled to even do. Everybody has a podcast, because I want people sharing their stories. And I told you pre-show, even if they don't do it with me, I don't need you to do it with me for your story to matter and for it to get out and be shared with people and enjoyed and get the value from it. So, like Uncle Andy yelling in the corner, my endorsement is go make your own stuff, y'all. Because it's allowed.
And it gives other people permission, and it just helps them understand what's going on within themselves.
Yeah.
Not everyone is a seeker, right? So I'm a seeker. I've always been a seeker.
Yeah.
You've probably always been a seeker, right?
Oh,
A
yeah.
studier. You go look for answers. Yeah, exactly. Look for answers. But not everybody's like that. Some people are caught in the rut. They're living on automatic. They're like not even awake in a lot of ways. And so even just stumbling upon a clip on social media, and they're like, oh my God, like they're singing my song, and
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So can you share something that's maybe changed within you since having started podcasting to now? Have you noticed anything about you that you go, oh wow, like you marked a change, and it has a direct line somehow to either hosting your show, preparing for shows, being seen and being visible? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that's a great question, because I've always been a big personality. People assume I'm an extrovert. I'm actually an introvert. I love to hide. I do. Like I'm a master at hiding, because you would never know I'm hiding. And I have a way of making people feel like so seen and so heard, even though I'm still like kind of guarded. So I would say that podcasting has done a few things for me. It's given me permission to stop hiding, right? And not even permission, but showed me that it's safe to stop hiding, more so. It's built my confidence. Yeah. And so now I can show up and really own the space in a different way than before. And that's why I talk a lot about authentic versus performative, because even though it was a form of authenticity previously, it was still performative.
That's wild. I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm going to tell you this. That's wild to hear you say that, because I can't bring myself to thinking of an unconfident version of you.
Oh gosh, I was.
No, but do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like when I met you, we've had conversations. We're here now doing this. Like I don't know what that would even sound or look like.
Yeah. Well, we all have insecurities. We all have. Our own version of struggles with confidence in different things. You might be super, super confident in one thing and then not as confident in others. Some people are not confident at all in relationship, but they kick ass in business. Yeah. Vice versa, right?
Fair point.
So there's that. And I think a lot of it is just the willingness to be okay with your insecurities or where you're not confident. And even more than that, to be courageous enough to lean in and do that shit anyway. I was scared as fuck in relationship after my husband passed. Like, I was like, I'm good. Long distance only, right? Like all these things that all these barriers that I created to keep me from having to really be in relationship until I met my partner 9 years ago. And it kind of broke me down, but that's a whole other conversation. And now I'm like silly putty. Like, I was so soft, but yeah. But we create these systems, right, within ourselves for keeping whatever our story is protected.
Well, because I did not know you in unconfident land, and I've only met you in confident space, I'm really glad to have met you in that time of your life.
Well, you
I love
wouldn't
that.
probably have known anyway.
Well, but you mentioned that that's the performative part of it.
Yeah.
And I think too many people are stuck into perform. And I've dealt with performance for a long time. Ever since I was a kid, I played baseball. And you don't think about you're performing, but you're on a field and everyone's watching you.
Yeah.
And then at 14, I started playing drums. I was in music groups. And I played in front of lots of people for many decades. And some of that just had performance in it. And it wasn't, some moments I'm like, oh yeah, this is just me. I'm just vibing with what's happening. And other times I'm like, oh no, I'm for sure performing right now.
Well, it's an unspoken programming that we don't realize. I grew up in theater and around entertainment. Like I come from an entertainment family.
Yeah.
And so you don't recognize it as performance because it's just what you do. And there's so much messages. The show must go on and all these things. But what it created for me was a version of myself where even when I didn't feel like I had the energy or the capacity or whatever to perform certain tasks or to do certain things, I learned to push through and do it anyway.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think the difference now, because of course I'm still that person, but the difference is now I acknowledge it. I create boundaries around it. If I don't have the capacity, I've learned to say no without expectation.
That's so good.
No expectation.
That's
and
great.
No, what do you call it? Reason. I just say no. It's a complete freaking sentence, right? And so I've found my rhythm.
That's really good.
And I can also call myself out. Right? Because I recognize it.
That's good. And I did not know this about you right now. So I'm having this real response feedback. So I did not know you had theater background.
Yes.
But in that space, similarly, is we, in order to become better at that thing, accept coaching to be better at it, which takes us further away from trueness. And I did not realize that for so long. Because, oh yeah, I'm great at performing. Oh, and you hear it and you go, oh, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. You're good at performing. That's good. Well, yeah, when I'm doing a performance, that's wonderful. But I shouldn't be performing when we're kicking it at my house, hanging out.
Yeah, we're like constantly seeking validation because that's what we've been trained to do.
Yes, and then accepted coaching to be better at it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but it started in school. I mean, primary school. Like, you'd stand in line, right? So I was a very good girl in school. I followed all the rules. It's very straight-laced, and that is truly a part of me. But as I learned more about myself and I embraced the vastness of me, which is very very confusing sometimes, if I'm honest, because I'm like this good girl and I'm a wild child, and like they're both me, right? And so until you develop the strength to truly embody all of those parts of yourself without judgment, without apology, it's not an easy thing to do. It's a process. Yeah. And then to take it a step further and do it on camera.
And do it publicly. Do it with people watching.
But it's
and then asking them to watch it.
It's what life is about, because when you get to embrace and show up fully, then it gives other people permission to do the same.
So this is probably going to be a general question, but I would love to hear your answer. For you and I are sitting here talking about performance. I know in the podcasting space, being performative is not required of you. Actually, being performative can work against you, actually, if you're trying to have real conversation and you're just like overperforming. So I hope that's not coming across here, because I'm definitely feeling this way right now. But what would you say is a big lie people believe about themselves, which prevents them from doing things like this?
I think, speaking through my own lens, of course, because I only have mine to look through, some of the things that prevented me from wanting to be on camera previously were some of those insecurities. So I used to have really intense body, like I guess they call it body dysmorphia or body image issues. And, and so I didn't want to show up on camera because I'm going to look fat or my face is going to look this way or this, that, right? So the judgment, I guess at the bottom of it, no matter what your individual experience of it is, it comes down to judgment.
You know what I realized one time in my life is that like, and someone kind of, so someone made this comment and then it like awoke this whole notion to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And why didn't I think of that? Right.
Yeah.
And it was because I was having this like, oh, well, I'm not ready. I don't have the right, They're like, you picked that outfit today and walked out in public and did your whole day looking like that.
Yes.
Not thinking once about what punishment you were bestowing on anybody else, on the way your hair was done, the clothes you were, and they were probably silently judging you anyways, and you didn't think none the other. And I was like, or you were none the wiser. I was like, and in that moment, I had like this, this epiphany, like, oh shoot. I do walk out every day thinking, I think this is how I should look today. And I'm going to go all the places I'm going to go and meet and talk to all the people I'm going to talk to, and this should be okay.
But you can't do it in front of the camera.
Yeah, but all of a sudden it's different because it's on camera. I was like, oh my God,
But
this is
there's
so dumb.
another layer. There's another layer, though. Everything you're saying is exactly true. But when you get to what you think the answer is, there's always another layer deeper. And I know for myself, visibility was hard for me. Real visibility was hard for me for a long time because on a nervous system level, it didn't feel safe to be seen. So I'm just going to leave that there. I don't want to get on my soapbox. Not here. But
that's really good, though.
It's something to sit with. You
Yeah,
know, if you
yeah,
really
yeah.
sit down and journal and just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like...
That's very thought-provoking.
Like scary to the point where when I had that realization, I literally bawled my eyes out because my whole nervous system was like...
Well, and then at that point, not as I say, the trick would be not the trick, but like then the game is okay. How do I make the value of what I have to share more important than the fear of doing it?
Right. Learn to calm my nervous system in the process.
Yeah.
Right. So like, what do? Well, this is one, like coffee.
Sure.
It grounds me, right? Or whatever it is, some hot fluid, hot water, even. Breathing patterns, the way I sit.
Posture,
right?
yeah.
Posture. So there's ways to, when you really know yourself and you understand your idiosyncrasies and your fears and your all these things, to make adjustments to support so that you can continue to grow and elevate and expand instead of running away and hiding.
And retreating, wow.
Yeah. It all is directly tied to your finances. It's related to relationships, like literally.
Yeah, how you value yourself.
Exactly.
And what value statements other people have said to you that you agreed with and maybe shouldn't have. I'll put that one out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and don't drink too much of their Kool-Aid either, because there's also people that are going to pump you up and like... and you're like, yo, you really let me do that? Like, that was not cool.
Please don't tell me I did a great job if I did terrible. Like,
you gotta have a mix of people around.
Don't lie to me to stroke my ego. I don't need that. I need real feedback, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna get better with you lying to me over here in the corner.
Not at all. Obviously, growth is a high value of mine too, so I throw myself in the fire over and over again.
But the cool thing is that you share this framework with people so that they can either get coaching from you to do it, but also understand these parts of them that maybe they've never done introspection on. And I think that that's something that is a value and a benefit from me having produced hundreds of shows and now hosted a lot too, is I'm learning more about how do I show up in these places? What are the things I default to when I get asked a question I wasn't expecting, or what memory do I think of, or what is my answer, and how do I feel when I'm giving that answer? Do I feel like I'm on my heels, or do I feel ready and prepared? And am I performing, or am I just being genuine and answering? So that process, even in this, has been helpful.
It becomes habitual. So like for so long after my husband passed, my story was I became a widow with 4 children.
Homeschooling.
Found out I was pregnant the same day, homeschooling. Single mom. That was my story, right?
Yeah.
And I meet my partner 9 years ago, and we're going into these spaces, and he's seeing me on stages telling this story. And one day, he very gently was like, you know, every stage, every podcast, you're always talking about being a single parent. He's like, you're not a single parent anymore. Holy shit, right? Like, first off, I'm keeping myself stuck in the story, but also, how does that feel for my partner? And like, literally, when he brought that awareness, I felt so bad. And I just, and I think even now, sometimes I kind of stumble because it's such a deeply ingrained story. Yeah. And we all have them. there's these things that we keep telling ourselves over and over again that we truly believe that's creating our reality. And so I had to let go of that story, and like it completely, something that simple completely changed our relationship because it helped, it was keeping him in a position of not feeling as valued.
And yeah, I can see that. But also what a great hallmark to use as like a stepping stone and a threshold into the new as well.
That part.
And be like, oh, wow,
Yes.
okay, so hold on.
Oh, so I get to recreate
It's not
this.
that didn't have, because all that stuff did happen. That was all
Yes.
true.
Yes.
But that doesn't have to continue being the only thing that's true.
Yeah.
And I had a moment like that when my wife had cancer in 2024,
Okay.
you know? And I was like, and there's these two parts of Andy. Like, oh, we got this. We're going to overcome. It's going to be fine. I already know that what's been shared with you and what your life's going to be doesn't look like this. So this just must be some detour on the way. And the other part of me is like, I want to go home and just sit next to my wife on the couch or hold her hand because I don't know how many more times I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like sitting in that and
Changes
going,
you.
yeah. And then I have, we have 3 daughters, and it's like, okay, what are they? Are they thinking about their mom the same way too? I don't want to ask them if they're thinking about their mom this way, because I want to like positively encourage that everything's going to work out, even though I believe it will, but I don't know if it will because I'm not going to be doing any part of it.
Yeah.
So it was this milestone moment where I'm like, okay, it happened, but also now we're not going to just live in the past of that either.
Yes.
It can be in the rearview mirror the way it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the windshield that we're looking forward and all the other stuff we're working on, like this.
Yeah. And it also then brings the family into the conversation of what does life look like moving forward, and what's the news story that we get to create together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
beautiful.
good.
Some of the worst experiences in our lives actually become the catalyst for our greatest growth. And for me, as horrible as that experience was, and still is on some levels, who I've become, how many people I've been able to support, and just simply getting them to see their challenges and their hardships in a different way makes it worth it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the I'm gonna say one of the hard parts. There's probably a better way to frame that, but that's one of the hard parts too. It's like, I know something good's gonna come out of this. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna believe it is, and someday I'm gonna look back and go, okay, I see it now.
I mean, if nothing else, your experience in 2024 stopped you and made you more present with your wife and your family.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that's a lot. That's huge.
Yeah, and because when you're married, you have kids, you start a family, you never think, oh, I'm gonna be by myself someday.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
And men
think about
get married so they're not by themselves.
Right. And so I don't, it's not like on our first year, 5th year, 10th year, I was thinking, someday we're going to face this medical challenge and one of us is going to have this disease and we're going to duke it. No, I didn't ever think about that ever. Yeah. And I don't know if that was like naivete. How do you say naive? Naivete.
Yeah.
Or immaturity or what it was, but it was something that was driving me to never think about that or even have that as a possibility.
Yeah.
And, but from that, it renewed, what are we going to go do? How are we going to share stories with people? Who are we going to be connected with? Where are we going to spend our time? How can we add value to people? And so all this amazing stuff comes out of that too.
And
I know that about you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know you well, but I would put money to say that you're a much better version of yourself post 2024.
In a lot of ways, yes.
In a lot of ways.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways,
go through that sort of stuff and not be changed.
Yeah, if I weren't changed, it would probably indicate that I walked through it very shallowly. Yeah, but that is not the case.
Which happens.
Tearing more now than tearing up more now, often easily than ever before.
Yeah.
So I want to also ask you about kind of what you think the future of podcasting for you is. What you've. For most people, they quit by episode 10, if not sooner. They don't get to 50 or 80, and then 100 now, 106. It's 106? 106 now shows?
107 tomorrow, I believe,
Geez. Okay.
I'm already planning 125.
So there you go. Most people don't get that far. You clearly have a vision for what you're doing, and you said once you say yes to something, you're going to see it out into perpetuity.
Yes.
So what does the future of your show look like?
I appreciate that question, and it's so what's up for me right now. So the future of my show is that it becomes more than a show. So I actually changed the designation of my corporation last year to a media company.
Oh, we're going to come back to that.
Which
okay, keep going.
opens so many different directions that I can go with my creativity and my art and podcast. And so what's next for me, first step is going to be turning the show into an actual show, not just a podcast, but a
Mm-hmm.
full show, and then a network. I want to go streaming, and I want to be able to bring other people onto the podcast, to the platform,
Mm-hmm.
and build a network, like a transformational network. I'm going to actually say this out loud because people have been reflecting it back to me, but it's giving Oprah vibes.
Oh man, I'm so excited about this.
Yes.
Okay, you're like hitting like 3 nails on this board. I'm talking to people about
course.
constantly. Streaming is one of them. Being a media company is another
Yes.
one, and the third thing is being your own CEO, leader, face of, and director of, and
Yeah.
for. This trend is not a trend, I don't think.
It is for some people.
For some people, yes.
It is for some people.
I think in the space that we operate in the podcast area, this is the next thing. Some people are already doing it. Others are going to be quick to follow. We have several shows that we're already in discussions off camera about to put onto streaming too.
Yes.
Because platforms are looking for podcasts to stream. It's also the reason why we have these cameras here, so they're streaming quality. They're streaming grade, so they can actually go to
when
the
you were
platform.
talking before we started, I was like bubbling because I'm like, oh my God, the places we can go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, legacy is very, very important. I speak a lot about impact, but I also love to speak about legacy.
Yeah.
And when I start thinking about the past 30 years of what I've done and put out there and what the next 30 years are going to look like, I want everything to outlive me, which is why the books, right? I'm about to release my 3rd book, which is the 2nd volume of Anatomy of Abundance on 11/11 this year. And so, yeah, books, podcasting, right? All of these things are going to live long after I am gone. So
I love that. Okay, we're going to spend time there. We're going to spend time there.
I love it.
Well, because one of my
skin color's changing.
because-
I'm like, yes, this is real shit right here. This
because
is connection.
one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is leaving a legacy, because I know that's important to you in what you're teaching other women who are in positions of power and influence, and they're in business, and even if they're running their own company or whatever. The importance of leaving a legacy so that your voice, your values, your character exists beyond you, I think is worth talking about.
It really is.
Way more now than before. And we have all of the tools to do that now at scale that we didn't have as easily in the past, when you had to only write on the typewriter or only write on the computer. You can like literally talk and tell your story and have a transcription same moment.
Exactly.
And go. What changed for you that you were like, I need my legacy to last longer than I do?
Funny, this is probably not the answer you're expecting, but funny enough, when I was younger, I was not a fan of history. I didn't care about
Me
it.
either.
Yeah.
I was
Whether it was my family history,
Patrina,
U.S. history, I just
got a
didn't care.
D+ in college in history.
Yeah.
D+.
But I mean, as we get older, we start to appreciate what came before us. And now I sound old, but it's fine. But we start to appreciate it. So through travel, through experiences, through connections, it's made me very curious about my history. And as a Black American woman, I don't know a lot, right? If you ask me questions, I don't know a whole lot about, my genealogy or path, whatever. And so it just made me curious, but it also made me curious. There's the financial legacy that we hear about a lot, which is great. Obviously, money is wonderful. But not everybody's going to create, let's be honest, not everybody's going to create a long-lasting financial legacy.
Yeah.
So what other legacies exist? Where are the opportunities to create legacy? And I think the biggest legacy is not just impacting your children and your family, but the communities around you, because that's when the real impact, ripples.
Yeah.
And so again, going back to what you're saying, our voice matters no matter what, I mean, unless you're talking some bullshit, which a lot of y'all are out here talking some bullshit, let's be honest. But
I love that caveat. I love that caveat. Yeah.
But I mean, our voices, no, seriously, sometimes I'm like, what
are they doing right now?
But our voices matter. We have a huge opportunity. Now, what we do with it, that's our responsibility. But we have a huge opportunity through writing, through speaking, through podcasts, just all of it.
You're stopping like 1 foot short of using the word obligation. It's like we have this I feel like I have this obligation to leave enough of me as an example for better or for worse for my for my kids.
Obligation triggers my nervous system. I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's that should stuff, right? It's in that same like should thesaurus category.
Over here. I'm like,
and maybe actually, you know what? That's not the right word I'm thinking. The word for me is not obligation, it's duty. I feel a sense of duty and responsibility as a dad. And I lost my grandfather in 2005. And there's things I would love to ask him today that I can't.
Right.
And back then, I had his recorded voice telling some family stories because I had like handed him a recorder, little tiny tapes.
Yes.
He had one of those, and he would tell a couple stories, and I only have a few of them. But like, there's things I'd love to ask him now, and I can't.
Right.
But how cool would it be like in the future, 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Let's fast forward. There's enough of my voice existing in this space that you could composite what you think my answer might have been.
Well, I just want to piggyback on that because yes, we took it so for granted when we were growing up, like sitting at the feet of our grandparents, like we weren't really that interested. I was actually very enthralled and like obsessed with my grandmother on my mom's side. Like I just thought she was I'm her reincarnated.
Oh,
she was total diva. Like anyway, side note. But I've become kind of the historian of my family. So I'm always taking pictures. I'm always doing video. Like I'm trying to capture these moments.
Yeah, document it all.
But with that said, that comes with a responsibility and a judgment and if I'm visible, am I going to die? It triggers that for me because I grew up in a family that was very performative. And so there's certain things you don't say. There's certain things you don't put out in the streets. There's certain, there's a certain way to show up. You have to pretty it up, right? And so, yeah, I think a lot of people are not doing certain things and sharing certain things. I actually have had people say to me, people that I invited onto the podcast, well, I don't want to talk about these things until after my parents die.
Really?
That's how deep these stories and this programming is. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's some things people don't feel comfortable talking about because they know they're going to get backlash from the family. And I've received backlash, and it's okay.
All right. Do you think some of that, like, we have to show up a certain way is generational?
Yes.
Like it came from a certain time 100%. In our history? Okay.
100%. Especially African Americans.
Yeah.
Like we've got to work harder, show up perfect. Like there's some pressure. To be a certain way, to be accepted in certain rooms and in certain spaces. And I don't usually go like down that, point of conversation, but it's very up for me. Like, I used to be accused of, you think you're this, you think you're that, right? Both by my community and other communities. So there's like greater conversation that creates anxiety within us, right? Speaking of the nervous system, but also it's like a framework that we've been put into that we're expected to uphold.
Yeah. So,
as a nation, not just Black folk.
And I don't spend a lot of time in that same space either. But I have stories of like my dad telling me like so when they were raised here on the west side of Chula Vista, that part of my family's Pacific Islander, so they look definitely much more Asian. Right after World War II.
Yes.
And like they had to like act and be a certain way even over here just because they weren't Japanese, but they looked Asian enough. That like you were gonna catch some shade if you weren't like all buttoned up and your hair's nicely combed and you're together and all this, and then that just carried on into like that whole generation. It very much is in that way. Like you have to show up ready. You're never flat-footed. You're always prepared. There's no lint on your shirt. Like, all this performative type of stuff. Yeah, because it came from that. It's wild.
It's a human experience, truly, because I'm sure that our Anglo brothers and sisters have had their experiences as well. So it is a human experience, right? No matter what culture you're coming from. There are definitely generational narratives, stories, curses, if you will, that it's just it's just our reality.
It is.
It's just what it is.
So
we're helping break through that.
Well, and I think conversations like this help. I mean, they're useful because I joke, but I don't joke. Like all three of our kids look like three different people from three different events. But they do. They share some similar qualities, but they don't look alike because our families they're so mixed on both my wife's side and my side. It's like it's wild. It's wild. Yeah. I want to ask you, because I want to go back to your show, because I want to wrap up with some of your show stuff.
Okay.
What is something unexpected that happened on a show or that a guest did that you found yourself having to pivot? What did you do? Is there a moment that stands out where you're like, oh, I didn't expect them to say this or that this was going to happen, and I had to be like, whoa,
No, have you met me? So
I know. That's what I'm asking.
One of the things about any space I create, I want people to show up, say the things they wouldn't normally say, do things they wouldn't normally do. Like it's like you're free reign and I don't judge. And so nothing surprises me. I want it. On the contrary, I'm probably trying to pull shit out of people. I want them to be as left as possible. You know what I mean? Like in my conversation, because it's so liberating. I want my spaces to be spaces where people can have conversations, address things, have awarenesses that maybe they don't have in other spaces.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really had anything I needed to pivot on.
So, okay, then on the other side of that, is there a moment or any moments that really have stood out to you that you just at random will find yourself thinking about or revisiting, like, oh my gosh, I remember that this happened, or when they said this, it made me feel a certain way?
It's honestly the common experiences, feelings that you learn about people you may have known for a long time that you didn't know. And like real time on camera in the midst, you're like, whoa, like that hit me. And so one of the most recent experiences was my girl Eva Venari, who was one of my panelists on the 100th episode, which was great. And then I did a 3-part series after that to do one-on-one interviews with the 3 panelists. And I'm sitting with Eva. I knew we had similar experiences of losing our husbands. What I did not know is that both of our husbands haunted us for years after their passing. Neither one of us were like really highly spiritual at those times, but through the experiences of being, and not haunted in a spooky way, our experiences were a little different in that, but just the fact that they wouldn't go away, and they wanted voice and they wanted say, and like all of these things. So we both had that experience, and we both came out on the other side of it so much more spiritual, so much more open. And literally I almost cried. I almost cried because my whole body lit up. I was like, holy shit, like I don't talk about those pieces with a lot of people.
Right.
You know, there were times where we'd be sitting having a conversation, maybe not on a podcast, and my husband would take over your body kind of things and like be talking to me because he had messages he wanted to tell me. I mean, that shit was freaky. And she had the same experience.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And you had no clue that was going to come.
I had no clue when she was talking. I was like, I wanted to be like,
what?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So you just really never know, because it takes the right person to give you that safe space to pull things out of you, or to have you feel comfortable enough to share certain things that maybe you wouldn't share in other spaces.
So when you're when you're an introvert who is hosting a podcast, how do you get yourself ready for your show? Oh
gosh. See, people don't see the preparation, and same as you've got your iPad, you did some research. I do the same. I research. Most of the guests I invite on, so I don't just let anybody on my podcast. One thing a lot of people know about me is I'm very discerning, because I'm sharing energy, right? I'm discerning about whose shows I go on, and I'm also very discerning about who I have on my show. And so I do either know them, or if I don't know them, I do an interview. And so I have them apply, and I do an interview, and we have certain conversations, and then I research and, just come up with things that I want to know. But it's also always based in my framework. So it's kind of easy too, because
it's second nature a little bit.
Yeah, it becomes very sacred, because I want to get to the real deal. I don't want to talk about the surface shit you talk about on all the other podcasts.
Well, but I'm saying but for you, like, what does Patrina have to do to be ready? Because there's people out here that are like, oh, well, I have to become this other person, right?
No.
What's your prep look like beyond getting ready for the guests? Like you go to bed earlier the night before.
No,
you pick your outfit the day before. Like, what are some of the ins and outs of that?
No, so I love people. I'm an introvert, but I love people. The difference is that I don't like being around a lot of people, because I feel all the energy, right?
Yeah.
But when I have curated my space and it's intimate, so it's me and you, or it's me and maybe 2 or 3 other guests, in a panel discussion, I'm creating the space. So that part's easy. It's harder for me to go into other people's spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the girl who shows up and is the life of the party for like 2 hours. And then I silently disappear. And you're like, where'd Patrina go? Like, I didn't see shit. I just bounced. I was done.
So, a lot of people now they'll say, introverts, they recharge alone in alone time. Extroverts, they get a lot of energy and they recharge from around a lot of people.
Yes.
What are some of the things you do for yourself to help you recharge?
I stay home most of the time. I literally am in my cave at the house, but I will go take beach walks. I can see the beach from my condo too, which is nice. Lots of sunlight. But I just stay in, and I'm very picky about where I go and who I go with. Yeah. And so I think I go outside like maybe once or twice a week, and the rest of the time I'm in the house. Yeah. And so that I think helps because it keeps my energy full. And then when I do go out, I'm like, I'm so excited. And then I'm like, okay, 2 hours is up. I'm out.
So when you're not intentionally working on the things you're working on, whether it's writing the next book, preparing the next show, planning another retreat, what do you find yourself reaching for? Do you reach for books? Do you reach for a remote?
Funny. Yeah. So
what do you reach for?
Books, lately remote, which is so not conscious of me. I have become a television addict in the past, I don't know, maybe year. I just find people so fascinating, and there's some fascinating people on TV, especially these reality shows. So I've been doing a lot of that, honestly. But it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. I don't really have hobbies. Like, my business has been my hobby for my whole life because I get to travel, I get to create, I get to connect. Like, everything's my business.
It generates all that stuff.
So there's things I like to do. I love to do art. So like painting or painting sculptures, or I love karaoke. I love comedy, stuff like that. But I don't consider those hobbies. So I literally just put out a little note on Substack the other day. I'm like, what do people do when they're not what hobbies do you have? Because I feel like, to me, hobbies come with a certain level of commitment, right? Like, sure, people will be like, oh yeah, I'm in a choir, or I'm taking piano lessons, or I don't have it. I'm like, what? Something has to compel me to commit to that level. But
all those things you're saying, I feel like they would exist in that play box of your life, core values.
Like my play toolbox. Yes. Rooftops, travel.
Yeah, that's
karaoke,
cool.
Karaoke, comedy. Yeah, stuff like that.
That's super
cool. I'm a very
cool.
creative person, so.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked the question is because I have been talking to other guests as well, and as much as thinking about this when I'm on my dog walks and my runs or whatever, I'm thinking about the idea of contentment and what does it mean to be content without sacrificing what you're working towards and driving towards for success metrics or whatever you're looking at. Like, I still want to have the ranch I've been looking for out in Hamul with the land and all the animals. I'm still going to pursue those things while at the same time, I am deeply content with the way my life looks right now. I'm okay with that. Without compromising my standards for excellence and all this other stuff. So I don't think
it has to be either or.
Well, I was saying, what does contentment look like to you then?
My life is super content and chill and simple, and people wouldn't think so, but it's so freaking simple, right? Little things. I love silence, actually. I love meditating. I'm certified in yoga, so sometimes I actually practice yoga asanas, but a lot of times it's just me doing yoga through my life or through meditations. I have to be by the water. I would say that's probably the most grounding thing for me. So I moved over by the beach in Oceanside a year or so ago. Life-changing.
Wow.
Life-changing. Going to hot springs, things like that. So water.
That's super cool.
Hot tubs.
Literal grounding.
Yeah, that's super simple. A perfect cup of coffee makes me so happy.
Creamer
single
first.
Glass of creamer
first, coffee second.
And you have to microwave the creamer, so it's extra hot.
So it's okay.
There's a whole system.
Okay. There's an order.
Little things, rooftop bars, just being by the ocean. Very simple things make me happy.
All right. I have my last two questions, which I ask everybody.
All right.
One of the most famous interviewers from what I recall in my life growing up was Larry King.
Larry King Live.
And he had so many great questions. I read a couple books about him, but I picked two that I really, really like, and I want to ask them to you.
Let's go.
All right. Question number one is if you could if you could share a meal with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh. Well, that's a hard one. I really admire a lot of people. I mean, right now, I'm this space in my life, I'd have to say Oprah. Like, I'd
Yeah.
really love to pick her brain. And I know probably everybody says that, but I feel like she's truly my soul sister. Like,
Yeah.
we're connected on a soul level. I know everybody probably says that too, but whatever.
No, but there's
my truth.
you made that comment earlier about the media company, and like there's so
Yes.
many things that are tracking like in parallel with what
Yeah.
that looked like for
And it
her
wouldn't be
that you're
business
doing.
questions. It would be really like, how do you stay so grounded, so you in the midst of all of this?
Yeah, everyone
I
trying to
think
change
that
you
would
all the
be
time,
one of
everywhere. Yeah.
You could be pulled in so many directions, and I don't know.
can't
I just have
imagine.
a lot of questions, internal
That's a
questions
good one.
for her. Yeah, I think so.
All right, this one is a little bit tougher.
Okay.
If I hand you a microphone and an audience of 100,000 people,
Yes.
and I ask you to thank one person, knowing that you could thank many,
Yeah.
who would you want to express an element of gratitude for in a
that's an easy
big
one.
public live audience?
That's an easy one. I don't think I give my mom enough credit, if I'm honest. I don't think I acknowledge my mom as much as I should. She had me at like 16, and I could not be here very easily. And that's actually why I have my first child at 21, because when it came down to it, unexpected, beautiful surprise, but I didn't really feel ready. And when I think of my mom, I'm like, you know what? I can't not have this child. So it would be my mommy.
What a good sentiment. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate that. I've had a wide variety of answers,
Yeah.
but that was really nice.
I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that
That was really nice. I'm glad you shared
crazy,
that.
beautiful queen.
Thanks for letting me ask you those questions. There's a little more. They're a little more personal because sometimes people,
Oh,
I
please
know
bring
you
it.
don't have a
I
problem with
love
that.
it.
No.
I
You're like,
love it.
do you have 98 other personal questions
That
for me?
part. Let's get into it.
What is the best way for people to reach you? They're watching this show. We'll put all that information in the description box. So how do you want people to reach out to you if they want to follow up with you?
The platforms I'm actually I'm on all of them. However, the ones that I really spend time on actually is LinkedIn, Instagram, and Substack. Those
Awesome.
are kind of my top 3 right now. But if you want to learn about me, connect with me, go to my website, patrinawisdom.com. I'm Patrina Wisdom everywhere. I keep it very simple. Oh, go to my YouTube. What am I saying? Go to my YouTube. That's really the place to get to know me.
We're gonna co-author this episode. It's
That
gonna go down
part.
both channels. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, that's part of what made me
Yeah.
lean more also into
Yeah.
to your earlier question. Is that I was like, okay, I do know that I want to show up on video more, because you can only show up as yourself and like really show who you are so much in writing and in photo. And so I was like, YouTube, like I get to just be me. People really can get to know me through a video. So
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for that question.
We're going to put all those in the description box. If you want to connect with Patrina directly, please reach her with one of those links you'll find on this video. And please, if you have any questions or you want to personally follow up, take that next right step. And also, I will say too, if you know a powerful woman in your life that could benefit from what we've talked about in this show today, or from what Patrina has shared about her program, her retreats, her coach, all the stuff, even the books, please go to her channel, share something that you think is worth sharing with the person that you love and are hoping will take that wisdom and carry it down the road in their life as well. Patrina, thank you for coming to the show today. I really appreciate having you on Everybody Has a Podcast. Doesn't it seem like everybody has a podcast these days?
Yes, they do.
You have one too. I want you guys all to have a podcast as well, even if you don't do it with us. Thank you for joining us this week for Everybody Has a Podcast, and we'll see you with another great guest next week. Bye, everybody.